Hi, my name is Barb Deshotel with CIR Realty. Welcome to my channel. And on this channel, you'll learn all things real estate. You'll learn about the buying and selling process, as well as things to do in Calgary and the surrounding areas. Today, we're talking about the pros and cons of new home versus an older home. Let's go. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of buying a new home first. The number one pro about buying a new home is that you can just about pick out everything that you want in your new home. You get to pick out the lot, you get to pick out the style of home that you want, you also get to pick out the layout and the square footage of the home that you want. Now, once you've done that, then the next step is for you to you get to pick out the carpet, you get to pick out your paint colors, if you want granite for your countertops, you get to pick out the cabinets, the cabinet colors that you require. So you get to pick everything, the underlay, all of these things, you get to choose them. And one of the things that's nice about building new is that you get to follow along with the construction process. It's exciting to see your foundation being poured, you get to see the framing, and then you get to see the exterior finishing as well as the interior finishing. So that's really exciting. Now let's talk about one of the cons about building new. If you choose to build from scratch, there really isn't much negotiating with the builders. Some builders have no charge for you to make changes to their original blueprint or their design. And other builders, they will nickel and dime you to death. Anytime you want to make a simple change, they will charge you for that. So you really need to be conscious about not overspending on your new home. Now, typically new home builders don't have much negotiating room on their price, but I've certainly got a lot of my clients some great deals on basement development, carpets, upgraded appliances. So there is some room for you to negotiate with the builders, but usually not on the price, but they'll offer you lots of other things, which, at the end, it's still money that you don't have to spend, right? Another pro is that you can purchase a home from the builder that the builder has in inventory. They call this a spec home. So this means that the builder's gone ahead and built the home, and what they're trying to do is attract buyers that are looking for immediate possession. Or perhaps that buyer wants to try out a new design or a new style within that community. Either way, a spec home is usually a great deal, as the builder does not want to keep too many of the homes in their inventory. So usually you can get a great deal on a spec home. Usually we can get a great deal on these homes, especially if we offer the builder an immediate possession. Now there is a caveat here. Usually when you buy a spec home, you don't get to choose your paint colors, your cabinets, carpet, or anything. Most of the time, the builders, designers have chosen all of those things already. Now that does depend on whether or not, depend on where they are in the building process. Sometimes you have the ability to change perhaps the paint colors, but you won't be able to change everything like you're building from scratch. So that is a con. Now I've gotten my clients some fantastic deal on spec homes. Another pro is that all new homes in Alberta come with a 10-year warranty. So if something goes wrong with the structure of the home or other components, then you are covered with the warranty. The new home warranty requires the builders to provide a 10-year structural warranty, so something like your foundation, for instance, and 5 years for the building envelope, so something like the roof, the walls, so that's covered for 5 years. And there's a 2-year warranty for your plumbing, your electrical, and your HVAC systems. The builder must also offer a 1-year warranty on labor and material. So basically what they do is they'll come to your home and fix any of the interior deficiencies. This is usually up to 3 times. Most builders will do this at 3 months, 6 months, and then 12 months. I recommend that you keep a running list on your fridge or someplace where it's in sight. So whenever something comes up, you can put that on the list. So when the builder comes, you don't forget any of the deficiencies. Another pro is that all of your appliance, your furnace, your hot water tank, all of those things will be brand new, so you won't have any issues for many years to come with them. New homes are more energy efficient, and they're also built with the most recent building codes. Another con in building new is that you're going to have to build your own deck, fence, basement development, unless you've negotiated that with the builder, or perhaps you paid extra for the builder to do these. And if you have not paid the builder to do these, this means that you have to come up with some extra money in your pocket in order to get all of these other items completed. So your deck, your fence, basement development, you will have to come up with the extra money for that. Another factor to consider if you're buying a new home is that you'll be living in a construction zone for many years to come. It will also be very dusty and noisy until the community is, I would say, 100% completely developed. Also, there won't be as many amenities established in these new communities. You might not have any schools for your kids to go when you're in a new community, so that means that they'll have to get bused. There won't be a lot of parks and playgrounds. Usually the developers do spec out different locations in the community for parks, but they might not have them built as of yet. So those are things that you have to consider as well. And definitely you will not have any mature trees in the new communities. And of course, if you're looking at new homes, this usually means that you're moving to the suburbs. Most of these new communities are usually in the suburbs and they're usually further away from downtown. So if you're taking the bus, that means you'll have to commute. If you're driving, you're commuting, and that could take you anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how far out that new suburb is. Another factor to consider is that you'll most likely have the same style of homes as everyone else in your community. Usually the builders have, 2 or 3 popular models, and they typically build a lot of them. Now what they'll do is they'll change the outside elevation to make them look different, but they will be considered what they call a cookie cutter home. So that is something to think about. Your home will look the same as, your neighbor 1 or 2 doors down from you. Now, sometimes you can find a newer home in an older neighborhood. We call those infills. Now, typically infills are a little bit more expensive because they're, of course, in the inner city. They're downtown, they're close to everything. So you're paying for the location, and it's usually built by small builders as well. Now, if you decide to build an infill, please contact your realtor so that they can help you through the process. This is definitely a different route than building with, one of the builders who build in the suburbs. So you want to make sure you're researching your builders, and your realtor can help you with that. So if this is the route you choose, please make sure you contact a realtor who can help you do your due diligence, as this is a different sector of the real estate market. If you're enjoying this content, go ahead and like and give me some love by subscribing. Now let's talk about the pros and cons about buying an older home. I think one of the best things about buying an older home is lot size. With most older homes in Calgary, you usually get a 50-foot lot. So that means that you'll get a big yard, as well as you have more space between yourself and your neighbors. And if your garage is located in the back, that usually means that you have a laneway, a back alley that separates you and the neighbor behind you. So then you have more space, more separation between you and your neighbor again. We've literally been to new neighborhoods where my husband could stretch out his arms and touch both homes. Usually you're not going to get that in an older neighborhood. In an older home, you'll usually have a variety of schools. You'll have elementary, junior high, senior high, as well as, lots of parks and green space as well. Plus you'll have lots of amenities like strip malls, you'll have shopping, and for sure you will have no constructions for many years to come. A con in buying an older home is that you will have a bigger yard, which means that you will need to do more work in taking care of that bigger yard. This will include lawn mowing, gardening, and of course, when we get winter, more shoveling. The plus side to this, of course, is that you get to de-stress from the city's hustle and bustle by doing the yard work. You'll be doing your gardening, listening to the birds, having your morning coffee on the deck, or perhaps you're even going to be visiting with your friends, visiting with your neighbors, sitting around the fire pit, and enjoying the long summer nights. Another con about buying an older home is perhaps you might need to replace the furnace, the hot water tank, the roof in the first few years of moving into the home. You might also want to spruce up the home with a new carpet, laminate flooring, hardwood, granite, or whatever the latest trend is. So you'll have to spend some money in modernizing the home if that's what you choose. These projects, however, can all be staggered so that you don't have to pay for it all in one shot. Another thing to consider is that an older home might not be up to date with the latest building code. For instance, if you have a spare room in your basement and you would like to use it as a bedroom, the current building code requires that you have a window a size of 3.77 square feet, unobstructed opening, and no dimensions, height or width, less than 15 inches. Older homes might also have poly B piping that was used for plumbing instead of copper. And it was used in about 700,000 homes in Canada in the 80s as well as the 90s. We have around 148,000 homes that were built with poly B piping here in Alberta. In my home, we have some poly B piping that was put in from the previous owners when they did some renovations. Now, we've been here for about 18 years and we've never had any issues at all with the poly B. Now, I'll leave some information in the description box down below about poly B piping for you. Now, if you're thinking about buying an older home, one that was built before the 1970s, then you have to think about asbestos. You have to be careful. You're thinking about doing your own remodeling. You want to be very careful in regards to asbestos. Asbestos removal is a very serious undertaking and should be completed by a professional. This will cost you a couple $1,000s depending on the extent of the work to remove the asbestos. I will also put a link in the description box in regards to asbestos for you. Let's be honest, as realtors, we sell a lot of homes. We sell newer homes and we sell older homes. Now, there is the option to purchase a newer home in an older neighborhood. As I said before, these are called infills. Now, truth be told, these homes are usually more expensive than the homes you will find in the suburbs, but you are paying for the location. And because most of these infills are typically built by smaller builders, you really want to do your research here. You want to research the builder and make sure that they are doing all the things that's required of them. By law, they are required to carry new home warranty. But some small builders, especially if they are the builder owner, are not required to carry warranty. However, when they go to sell the property, they are required to carry the new home warranty. This is especially why you want to hire a realtor to represent you. Your realtor will be able to check out all this information thoroughly for you. Otherwise, if the builder owner is selling the property privately, you will not be covered for any deficiency if they don't have the new home warranty. So what that means to you is you will not be covered for the structural warranty, the building envelope warranty, or the appliance warranty. So you have to be careful when you're dealing with a small builder and where he's the builder owner as well. And remember to always get a home inspection. Whether you're buying an older home or a new home, you want to get a home inspection. This makes sure that the builders have done what they say they're going to do. And of course, if it's an older home, and you want to make sure that it has, doesn't have any red flags. So always get a home inspection. So is it better to buy a newer home or an older home? Ultimately, the decision is yours as the buyer. Do you prefer a brand new home where no one's, used the bathroom, everything's brand new? Or if you're like me and you like a larger lot with a bigger yard and mature trees, and you don't mind your husband doing all the extra work to keep him in shape and out of trouble? If you like this video, you might also like the video that's coming up. Thanks for watching.